I'm glad to see you again. I'm glad we could meet again. And so when we begin our session, like we did last time, I just wanted to do a quick check-in with you with the rating scale, just the same as we did before. And so if you would, when you rate yourself, put your name and the date on there. And then when you rate yourself, on the left-hand side is like more negative, and the right-hand side is more positive. Okay. Of how you're feeling. So you're just kind of marking, putting an X where you feel like you land on that line. Okay. Okay? Great, thank you. Okay. So, the last time we met, we talked about how you were coming so that you could better bring together both sides of your character. Yes. Right? Yes. So you're struggling with, you got one side, but you're kind of struggling with the other side. Yes. Not quite sure how to get there. Right. Right? So how has that been this week?
So this week has been somewhat the same. We did have a dress rehearsal, and I was hoping to kind of find my character a little bit better than I have been, because it's, as you know, it's been a really big struggle. But I just had a lot of inhibition about letting go, kind of just sinking into the character, and it felt pretty much the same that it's been.
Yeah. So you said you felt like an inhibition.
Yeah.
Did you feel like if you were to fall in, what would happen?
I think it would be great. I mean, I think that that's what I want to do. I just can't quite let go. And I don't know why. For example, there's this other friend of mine, and she's also on stage. And she's beautiful, and all the guys like her, and she's so sensual, and she just has almost everything that this character that I'm trying to portray has. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just have been watching her and studying her and just trying to kind of figure out what it is about her and what it's not about me. But I can't quite connect with her.
Hmm. Are you friendly with her?
We're not really friends. She's new. She's here in New York just temporarily for this production. Mm-hmm. She's from San Francisco. But I did have this kind of unique experience with her this week since our last meeting. She came by the apartment, and it was pretty late. I was kind of getting ready to wrap up for the night, and she knocked on the door, and my mom answered. And my mom never lets me go out at night or spend time with any friends in the evening, because she knows that I have to be on stage in the morning, and classes start really early, and I have a fairly long commute to campus. But she just knocked on the door, and she just said, let's just go out and have some fun. And my mom didn't want me to go, and she really tried to stop me, but I just left. We just went, and we went to a bar, and we just drank and stayed out the whole night, and it was really great. And I was just really happy that I did that, even though it angered my mom. And I know I probably worried her, and it wasn't responsible because I did have production right in the morning. I had to, get up early, and I didn't get any sleep. And I was worried about how it would affect the vocal quality and my performance, but I just did it anyways.
Did you feel at all that was a little bit of getting in touch with your other part of that character?
I think so, because I just got to spend this time with her, just just one-on-one with her, and we were just drinking and dancing, and of course there was tons of guys at the bar that were interested in her, and I was just kind of able to watch her and see how she acted, and for that moment in time I kind of felt like her.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't really me, it was her, but I kind of felt like I was her for a short amount of time that night. But then of course when I went home, and it all kind of just disappeared.
Now you said you mentioned that your mom doesn't want you to go out.
No, never. She never wants me to leave.
Okay.
Unless it's for school, of course.
Right. Now, and we've established that that's because she cares about you.
Yes.
And that she feels that she wants you to succeed.
She does.
Right.
Her intentions are loving.
Do you feel at all that you don't have a lot of autonomy with her?
I just know that she's sacrificed a lot for me to be here and to have this position at school. I mean, to go to Juilliard is just a big sacrifice for her. So anything that I might feel about that, I always try to just remember everything she's done for me.
Okay.
And she gave up her career for me to be born. So.
Okay. I mean, you said just now, anything that I might feel, I usually try to avoid because I just remember that she sacrificed so much for me. What might you feel?
I might feel angry at her. But I would never let myself feel angry at her because, again, she does everything for me, dedicates everything for me.
Right. Well, we're going to establish that. We're going to say that is what she's doing, right? That she is caring for you and that she does love you and she does want you to succeed. But we can't really forget about you. I mean, you're your own person too. Mm-hmm. And so you said you might be angry. Can you describe that at all?
Well, sometimes I do feel like, I'm 24, and I do feel like she wants me to be that 9-year-old still on the stage that she can control and she can guide, and she has so many skills, and I appreciate that. But I am a different person, and I do have a different talent, and I wish she could see me for that. But yet, she just has this vision of what she wishes for me, and it kind of covers up who I might really be. And so I don't want to ever make her angry,
right?
Because she can get really angry. And so there is anger towards the way she controls me, but I would never let that out or never let that show.
Do you think at some point that you will move out?
I've just never thought about it, and that's a conversation we've never had.
No. Right.
Because I just don't know what she would do without me. I mean, she does everything all day just for me around the house and preparing my meals. And
do you feel at all that maybe it's keeping you from experiencing your own life?
I've just really never thought about it. I mean, I haven't known any other way.
Do you ever feel that you want to know another way?
After that night out, I felt like I might want to know another way. But never before that night out with Natalie.
Okay. So it did feel sort of liberating?
Sort of liberating, and sort of like I was a child just in this discovery stage. I mean, we were just drinking, which I never do, and smoking, which I never do. I mean, obviously smoking is bad for the vocal cords, and just being free. And that's something that I never feel.
Okay. Do you think that your mom would understand if you were to have a conversation about maybe needing more time, maybe needing some of your own time? Like if Natalie were to come over again and then say she wanted to go out again, do you think that there would be an understanding there?
No.
No.
She would never understand. She would never understand that I maybe need some space from her or something different. She would never understand that. Okay. And it would make her angry.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. It's just a hypothetical question. We're just going to like do a little imaginary kind of thing. And so let's just think for a minute, 5 years down the road, where do you see you?
I mean, I of course see myself with a career on Broadway, probably. And I mean, I'm hopeful that I'm very successful with my talent and I'm able to do something and take it somewhere.
Okay.
But that's all I see. I don't see anything else besides this life that I've created for myself, which is just in the arts. I've never thought about family or relationships or anything like that. I just have so much pressure around this part of my life that it's pretty much consumed everything.
Would you say that it's hard for you to see into the future?
It's very hard for me to see into the future.
Yeah, because you're kind of right here, right now, and not really free.
Correct.
To see those things.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think that's part of the culture at Juilliard. It's about being that character that you're playing right now. It's never about something you did in last year's production or the possibility of who you might play in the future. You have to just be working in the study that you're in right now.
Which in a lot of ways, you know, it is similar to what we call mindfulness. You know, we want to be in the present moment. We want to stay present and be able to live in that moment. But there's something to say about the other parts of us, right? There's like a working part, there's the talented part, but then there's maybe the person who wants to go out with her friends, or maybe there's a person who wants to meet another person, a significant other. Maybe you want to have children. Maybe there's, maybe not. But there's those avenues to explore, and so it might be just a good little thought, and something that maybe you might want to just give some thought to.
Yeah, I just worry that if I do think about those things in 5 years, that it will just distract me.
Okay.
It will distract me from this pressure that I'm under.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say distract, when you feel like yourself starting to think on those things, which seems to me is a little bit of you thinking more of you instead of the role, but maybe more of Lily, right? When you start to do that, does anxiety enter?
Yes.
Because there is some kind of worry about control?
Yes.
Yeah. What kind of things come up for you when I say control?
Not being I kind of feel the opposite. When you say the word control, I kind of think out of control, like not being perfect, not being meeting everyone's expectations. Like I know that I can do and that I have done. I kind of think of the opposite. That's so like really out of control. Mm-hmm.
So to be out of control is to be what?
To be terrible at my talent. To be irresponsible.
Okay.
Kind of like when Natalie came over, if she had called 2 hours before and said, hey, let's go and do this, I never would do it. I just never would do that. But because she showed up and she kind of forced me to do it, I mean, she kind of, I guess, was taking control, but then we went and we were out of control and just did everything that was wrong according to my mother.
Okay. But not so much according to you.
Correct.
Okay. So maybe what we want to try and find is a balance somewhere in there, right? Mm-hmm. How can we appreciate and be in a good place with your talent, but also appreciate and be in a good place with you without losing you in that mix? The last time we spoke, I talked a little bit about anxiety, and I thought maybe that's where we want to go. Mm-hmm. But I didn't ask you. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that is somewhere we might want to explore, something we want to explore?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel anxious a lot. But I don't know if it's just because of the pressure of the industry. I mean, everybody, of course, is anxious and trying their best. So maybe that's just something I have to live with.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe, like you were saying, when you're in a profession like this, that it does come with some of those things because you're at such a high level, and so much is expected of you. Do you happen to know what the age of retirement is for somebody in your?
Oh, that's the other thing too. Is it is much harder to have a role as a mature woman. And my mom has kind of expressed wanting to get back on stage, get back into theater work or some type, but that's very hard to come by. Maybe early 30s as long as I'll have in this, but I can't think of anything after that. I can only think about, the current career and what I can do.
Right.
But the time is fleeting for sure.
Okay. So you're saying early 30s?
Yes.
You're 24?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any thoughts as to what you might do after this career?
No, not at all. I haven't thought about that at all.
That's probably pretty obvious because we've already talked about a lot of that, like just not being able to see past that, what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
So, what this week brought you anxiety?
Well, of course, after that long night out with Natalie, Mom was really mad when I came home. I mean, she sat up all night waiting, and she called me like 10 times on my cell phone, but I just didn't answer it. So I had a lot of anxiety coming home and then dealing with her, and I felt terrible that I had worried her so. I mean, that night I wasn't thinking about her at all, but the next morning, just seeing the grief on her face, that caused me a lot of anxiety. And then, as I mentioned, the dress rehearsal, I was going into it really just prepared that I would be able to kind of transition to the character that I'm struggling with. And when that didn't happen, when it just didn't resonate, I had a lot of anxiety over that as well.
So when you said that your mom had called you a bunch of times and then you just didn't answer.
Yeah.
how does that make you feel?
Terrible, like I'm a terrible daughter. Yet some of it wasn't my control because Natalie met up with these guys and she had this little pill that she said would just relax us. And I said no because we had to be on stage and she did too. But when I went off to the bathroom, she poured it in my drink. And I wasn't angry. This is what was weird is I came back out and I saw her pouring it and I was kind of okay with it. Because I wouldn't have been able to take that. And so she did it for me.
Okay.
And so I knew Mom was calling, and I had declined a few of her calls. But after that drink, I don't really remember her calling again until I got home and I saw that there were several additional missed calls.
Okay. So I just see that maybe we want to focus on that anxiety piece again. Maybe we'll bring some tools in next time and see if we can't help you to find a little moment in there when you're feeling that anxiety that you can gain back a little bit of more calmness or just maybe a little bit more empowering over that feeling of anxiety. I can see that, we're going to try and get you through this time.
Thank you.
Because it's really it sounds like it's very difficult.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're taking on a lot. And I know that you want to be successful and that it's very important to you and to your mom. And we want to honor that, but we also want to honor you. So that's what I really think I would like to focus on. I also think, and this is just something for you to think about in the next, coming weeks, what you think might be a good thing is whether or not you think you might want to ask your mom to come.
Okay.
And see if that might be something that maybe there's a way to bridge some of the communications and maybe find some understanding between the two of you for giving you a little bit more space and a little bit more of you.
Okay.
Right? Because we want you here.
Right.
We want you to have all of this experience and to be able to enjoy it while you're having it. It's really difficult, I can tell, that just going through all this and having to do so much that it sort of distracts you from feeling it.
Yeah.
Living it.
Right.
You're just kind of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think that's where we're going to pick up next time. Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about what you think about your mom coming, or if you think that might be a good thing to do. We can also talk more about some tools to use for that anxiety.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to have you check in one more time, okay, at the end of our little session. This one's a little different, right? We did it last time. This one is just sort of, how did you feel in our session? How do you think it went?
Okay.
Okay.